Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. The last year in Hilchos Beis HaKnesses, Simon Kuf Nun Hey 155. We're out of rooms here, so I'm doing it in the back of the Beis Medrash over here. It's a short simon today. Leilech mi Beis HaKnesses the Beis Medrash. The Gemara in Maseches Brachos mentions that it's a big mila. It's a great thing when you leave the Beis HaKnesses. In this year we'll talk about what most people think of Beis HaKnesses. This is a shul. When you daven in the morning, you should go right to the Beis Medrash. Now, a lot of people learn in the same Beis Medrash, or maybe they'll learn outside the city. They go somewhere else. So you should go right away from the Beis HaKnesses to Beis Medrash. We'll see this halakha not just applying to people who learn all day. It applies to anybody. After davening, you should learn a little bit. The Yikba Eis Lilmod. You should set a time. Kviyas Yitim LaTorah is mentioned in the Maseches Shabbos. One of the 6 questions that Hashem asks a person after 120 years is whether they set aside times for learning each day. Kavata Itim LaTorah mentions in Pirkei Avos the importance of Kovei Itim LaTorah. In order to be considered Kviyas Itim LaTorah, where you're Koveya, you make it a fixed part of your schedule, it has to be something where it's something which is unnegotiable and non-negotiable. And even if you're gonna make a business deal, someone calls you and says, "I have a big business deal. Come meet me right now," and now is your time to go be learning. You can't let that pass. You say, "I got to give up the business deal." Otherwise, it's not called kavua. It's not called kavei itim LaTorah. Haga, the Ramah continues, "Va'af mi she'eni yodea lilmod." Not everyone knows how to learn. Yelech lebeis hamedrash u'schar licha biyado. He should go to the Beis Medrash and just sit there. He gets schar for just going and sitting there. Oh, yikba olo makom. Or if he knows how to learn a little bit, should find a place in the Beis Medrash. Yilman ma'at, v'mashi there. Learn a little bit what he knows. So it doesn't have to be Torah Sheba'al Peh. It could be Chumash or whatever he knows. V'yachshav ben Yanav, and think about the meaning of what he's learning about Torah. The whole purpose of Torah, of Kviyas Itim LaTorah, I believe, is that you should have time to focus on your cheshbon nefesh, focus on what you're doing in life, making the right decision in life, and when you get a chance to learn, that gives you clarity on your decision in life. You get a chance to sit down, hover over a Gemara or a Chumash. It helps clarify, for me at least, it helped a lot, clarify the upcoming day, what the right decisions we're going to be to make. The Yikanis Belibo Yiras Shamayim, that's what the Ramah says. You get Yiras Shamayim, which ultimately, fear of God, is the ability to make the right decisions. Beis Kodem Sheyodech Lebeis HaMedrash Yuchal Echol Pas Shachris Muragil Bo B'Tov Sheyargil Bo. I don't know, he says you're allowed to eat at the heter. You don't have to go immediately from the shul to the Beis Medrash to learn. You could actually eat a little pas shachris. The Gemara identifies this about a kabetza, the Gemara on Sukkah and Daf Chavav, about a kabetza of bread. I don't know, I eat a package of Oreo cookies, 4 Oreo cookies, with dipping them in milk and a glass of orange juice after shul before I come to the Beis Medrash. So I guess it's called pas shachris. It's also not actually bread. Some people are makbid to wash on bread. And I find it very interesting that it's yuchal, you're allowed to eat over here. There's no halacha in the Gemara whether there's an isser of stopping between Beis HaKnesses and Beis HaMedrash. It says anyone who goes from the Beis HaKnesses to the Beis HaMedrash is called Yelchul Al-Chayim Mechayel Al-Chayo Yireh Elokim B'Tzion. I was going to see Hashem, but it doesn't mean that it has to be right away. But apparently the Shulchan Aruch feels it has to be right away. There's a kula because it's mentioned Pas Shachris in Maseches Sukkah, which are talking about Talmidim over there. So Mustama, the Shulchan Aruch assumes, the Torah paskins, that you could eat a little bit before you come to the Beis Medrash, so you can have strength to learn. Especially if you're going to be learning the entire morning, you definitely should have breakfast before. I don't recommend not having breakfast. That's the conclusion of today's simon. And also Hilchos Beis HaKnesses, Kuftan Vav talks about business dealings, and then we'll get into halachas of a seuda, of when you sit down to have a meal. Stay tuned for Ian to lean on, where I talk, according to my explanation of what a Beis HaKnesses and Beis Medrash is, how this halakha is relevant. It is a Gemara from the Gemara Maseches Brachos. It's not a chiyuv, however, it is a big idea, a big inyan. So therefore, we're going to talk more about that according to my explanation. Ian to lean on coming up next.